This is Sports Talk with Player Agent 3. A special guest today is a guy that I've known since my high school days, probably one of the coolest guys that I've ever met. He's one of Baltimore, Delaware's finest in terms of football, Mr. Andre Kramer. What's up?
Hey, how you doing, Miguel? How you feel?
I feel good, man. Now that I got you on the show, man, I can talk to you about some stuff, pick your brain. Feels good.
Okay, I really appreciate you having me, and I'm excited about this opportunity to engage with you and your crowd.
Yeah, man. I appreciate you coming through. It's definitely been a long time coming. So how's the family been doing, man, since all of this COVID-19 thing?
Well, I lost my mom last year during this time. Not from COVID, but it was right as COVID, had hit and everything was going on. Other than that, my dad is doing well. He's still in Baltimore. My son Nico, who you watched grow up and help formulate him. He's doing well. He's getting ready for his season. He got drafted in the first round to the Arena Football League, and they postponed and pushed their season back a little bit. But he's working at a training facility called Alpha Training in Delaware, and he's doing really good. I think he has about 6 young men that have gone on to Power 5 schools, and so he's doing this thing. And then my daughter, who's a graduate of Howard University, as you are, grad school. She's in grad school now at Johns Hopkins, and she's also in communications. She's producing a morning talk show in Baltimore. So my family's doing pretty good, and everybody's healthy, so that's a good thing.
So look, Andre, let's go back to your upbringing, man. Baltimore, Delaware. Where are you actually from?
So I was born in Wilmington, Delaware. We were born in Wilmington, and when my parents separated when we were in the 4th grade, when I was in the 4th grade, we went on to Baltimore, which was probably one of the best things that could have happened to me, because it put me on a little bigger stage where my skills and the gifts that God had gifted me with can be seen on a bigger stage, and it got me an opportunity to go to University of Tennessee. But I was born in Wilmington, Delaware, and then we moved to Baltimore when I was in the 4th grade.
So you were an elite high school football player, and I think track as well. Talk about those days growing up in Baltimore. And if I can recall, I think you told me that you competed against Muggsy Bogues and some of those guys, Reggie Williams, or you saw those. You came around the time those guys were at Dunbar.
Correct. So Dunbar, when I was in high school, Dunbar was the #1 team in the nation in basketball. So, I didn't play a winter sport. I played football, and then I played lacrosse. I didn't run track until my senior year. So I was a football and lacrosse guy. And in the winter, that was when I would put my Letterman jacket on and go watch the basketball team, trying to think I was, trying to be something special. So I would take the winter off and give myself an opportunity to kind of rest up. And I was a big supporter of our basketball team. And so I got an opportunity because Dunbar was in our conference. I got a chance to see Muggsy Bogues and Reggie Williams and David Wingate and those guys. They were the #1 team in the country. And so I got an opportunity to see, top athletes play at the high school level just like me. And then, within the city, all the top athletes kind of know each other. So we would run across each other at different events and different things like that. So, yeah, I had an opportunity. And then when I came to Charlotte, I was in Charlotte for a little bit. I had an opportunity to hang out with Muggsy when he was with the Hornets. And so that was my thing with the Dunbar basketball team.
Uh-huh. So, but you said you played lacrosse and you ran track. When did you know that your ticket was going to be football instead of track or lacrosse?
Well, football was always my thing. I believe that was the gift that God gifted me with. Ever since I can remember, it was always about football, but it didn't matter. Just competing and being an athlete was in my blood. So all I had to do was see a ball. It could be a basketball, it could be a baseball. It could be any of those things. I wanted to be a participant of it. But I got an opportunity to fall in love with lacrosse. In my neighborhood, I had a couple friends that were a little bit older than me, and they were in high school already when I was in junior high. And they would always come home with their lacrosse sticks. And I was like, what is that? I had never heard of lacrosse. And so then I started throwing the ball around with them, and I started saying, I like this. And then when I got to high school, that became my second sport. Okay.
So talk about your recruiting in terms of football. Talk about your recruiting, because you ultimately chose Tennessee. But if you were a guy that were offered by Tennessee, I'm pretty sure everybody in the country was after you.
Yeah, so I was a high school quarterback, and the first school to offer me a scholarship was James Madison, which right now is a perennial playoff team.
Yeah.
At the FCS level, and so that was the first team that offered me, and then from there it just moved into the East Coast. So, being in the Maryland area, of course, I started getting Maryland, and I got Temple, and I got Rutgers, and I got Penn State. And then now that I'm a college coach, I understand how it goes. And once you get one offer, a lot of times people will offer because other schools have offered you. And then I started getting some Southern things. Virginia Tech was my first Southern school. That's when Bruce was there, VTech, and so I got opportunity, and I fell in love with VTech a little bit. But then all of a sudden, here come the SEC schools, and I had Alabama and I had Tennessee, and then next thing I know, I was getting letters from out west, Notre Dame, USC, and UCLA. So just as it is in today's recruiting, I had to choose between 5 schools to take my official visits, and my 5 schools were UCLA, Notre Dame, Tennessee, Syracuse, and Maryland, because I was high school quarterback, and I wanted to go to a school that at the time was going to play a black quarterback. Now, that's not a big thing anymore. But when I was in high school and coming out of high school in '84, unless you were running the option, black quarterbacks really weren't playing at unless it was an option school, right? And so I got an opportunity to go to Tennessee, and in 1 week, they had moved me from quarterback, and I was starting at the corner position at 17 years old in the SEC.
Wow. Now Johnny Majors was your college head coach. I guess you could say, being able to play in the SEC, which is probably a year in and year out the best football conference, college football conference in the nation. Was that in the back of your mind when going to play college basketball? Football, or you just wanted to play at a good school?
Well, really, I didn't know much. I didn't really know much. I did some research on the schools that was recruiting me, but I didn't really know much about coaches at that time. So I didn't realize who Coach Majors really was. That he had won a national championship at Pittsburgh with Tony Dorsett and Hugh Green and all those things until I started doing my research. But at that time, I don't think it really came down to the coaches for me as much as it came down to, first of all, I wanted to get somewhere where it was warm, And so coming out of playing high school football in Baltimore where the weather was cold, and what I found was as the season went on and it got colder, my performance seemed to not be as good, right? And so I was like, maybe I need a warm weather school to go to. And so that's why I started looking at, that's why Syracuse was eliminated and Notre Dame and those type of things. So I wanted to go, so then I chose to go down south to Tennessee. Once I went down there on my official visit, and I had the opportunity to see Neyland Stadium, which at that time was probably the second or third largest stadium in the country at the time. We had over, we're about 98,000 people at that time, down there over 100. And then just the athletes down south was a little different than what I was I played up in the, in the northeast. They seemed to be different about the game. And I found that very interesting. And I wanted to be a part of that right there. I had never lifted weights in high school. When I got down there as a freshman, relax. Day one.
You got your dog in there.
yeah, I got my dog with me. Day one, I go down there and we do lifting, to see, how strong we are. And I'm looking at high school, basically high school seniors or college freshman that's doing 225 for 6 and 7, 8 times. I could just barely do 185.
Wow.
Right. So I was like, yeah, this is going to test me and push me to a whole nother level. And that was the thing that I really enjoyed, was the fact that the camaraderie of the Tennessee team at that time, the weather, and the fact that I felt like I was it was a level that was a little higher than me and was going to push me to greatness. And that's what I wanted.
If you look at your career at Tennessee, well, you were a 4-year starter as a DB. You played in multiple bowl games. I think you guys won the Sugar Bowl in 1985. And you were an All-American in 1984, 1985 as a freshman.
I was a freshman All-American. Yeah, I never made it as an All-American. But I was a freshman All-American because I started as a true freshman, and I was also the starting punt returner. So, I was getting some notoriety, and I had a punt return my freshman year versus Alabama. We hadn't beat Alabama in 3 years, and I had a punt return that set up the winning touchdown for us to beat Alabama. And so that kind of started my my legacy at Tennessee, or whatever legacy it is. And then, with my son being able to go to Tennessee as a legacy player, it just solidified that whole thing at Tennessee. But that was the biggest thing, was competing at that level, and in that league was at that time, premium to me.
Right. Now, did you ever feel while you were at Tennessee that you didn't belong on that level, or you always had that competitive nature that bring it on?
Yeah, I always had that competitive nature, that I never felt like that I couldn't play at that level. There were times that I doubted if especially at quarterback. Like I said, I was at quarterback. I really wanted to be a quarterback. So for a week, I doubted whether I could play at that level, because I was an option quarterback. And at that time, our offensive coordinator and quarterback coach, which is Walt Harris, who's went on to become a really good, well-known offensive coordinator. We were in more of a pro-style offense, and so we were throwing the ball a little differently than I was accustomed to. And so I did doubt my abilities at quarterback, but I never doubted my athleticism as a football player.
Mm-hmm. So what would you say was the highlight of your career at Tennessee? It could be a game, it could be a practice, it could be playing against a certain player.
I had many of them, but I'll talk about a couple of them. One, of course, is the fact that, like I said, my freshman year, the punt return versus Alabama, because that's our rival game. The third Saturday in October. There's a book called The Third Saturday in October, and it just talks about the rivalry between Alabama and Tennessee, and to have my name in that book because of that play, cements me and writes, like I said, my legacy in that game and in that rivalry. So that's probably one of the big ones. Another big one, of course, is the Sugar Bowl, where we played University of Miami when they had Mike Worth and Vinny Testaverde and a host of NFL players. But we also had a host of NFL players on our team, and we beat them 35-7 down in the Sugar Bowl in New Orleans. And that was probably the biggest win of my college career. And then I think the fact that I had an opportunity, now that I look back at it, at that time I didn't, but we had an opportunity to face Bo Jackson at Auburn when they were the number 1 team in the country, and we knocked them off. And that was a highlight because of who he was and what we got accomplished on that day. Mm-hmm. And so those, every game was a memory. I can remember every game like it was yesterday. I took time to smell the roses and look around at the different stadiums and acknowledge the different players that I had an opportunity to face. So a lot of highlights, a lot of moments and then of course my last game there, when I got a chance to run through the T for the final time with my parents there, and I graduated. Those were all big highlights at the University of Tennessee.
At what point did you say to yourself, you know what, I think I can do this on the next level?
So when you go to a school like Tennessee, unlike baseball where they have the minor leagues, where, you know, AAA, single A, double A, and AAA. In football, we don't have that. So the college that you go to is sort of like that. And Tennessee being an SEC school is like playing AAA baseball, right? And so being able to compete at that level against guys that each year was getting drafted and going to the NFL, I knew that I could play at the next level. The key thing was whether you could stay healthy the way we used to play back then. See, the ball is being thrown around a lot more now, and people are playing more spread football now, where when I was in college, we were what we call in 21, offenses were more in 21 personnel. They were playing with a fullback and a tight end, and they were running downhill football. You know, people didn't throw the ball as much. There were some teams, you know, and that was the difference at Tennessee. We were throwing the ball around a little more before people started really throwing it around in the SEC. You know, when you faced Florida, they had Emmett. When you faced Auburn, they had Bo. Everybody had good running backs, you know, and everybody was toting the mail. So, you know, I knew I could play at that level, and because of the guys that I was playing against and at the level that I was playing at. And then in practice, you know, I went against, every day in practice, I went against 3 first-round receivers. You know what I'm saying? Anthony Miller, Tim McGee, and Alvin Harper. They all 3 receivers went in the first round, and those were the guys that I faced every day in practice. And so me facing them, I knew that I could play at that level.
Now, back many years ago when I met you, I knew you had played for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I don't know what the situation was with the Bucs, and I knew you had played in the Arena League, but talk about some of your professional experience.
So I went, at one point I was probably the #1 corner in the nation, rated. By the time I became a senior, you know, I had a couple nagging injuries that kind of slowed me down, and I went to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers as a free agent. Made it to the last cut. Wind up, after I got cut, I said, you know what? The thing I want to do is go back and graduate. And so I went back to school and graduated, tried to rehab. And then that's when I met the family that you know that kind of introduced me to you, which was the Hartsfields. I wound up meeting my wife, Tawana Hartsfield, my ex-wife. And while I was in Charlotte, I was playing for a team called the Charlotte Barons, getting ready for the World League. So I was drafted in the first round to the World League when the World League first started, to the Barcelona Dragons. So what they did was they sent me to a team in Charlotte to rehab after I graduated to get ready for the league. And I went and played for a semi-pro team, basically called the Charlotte Barons. And it was a team put together for all the guys that were going to go into the World League, or what later became NFL Europe. And we had a really good team. We wound up winning the championship in that league. And a lot of good players played in that league and went on to play in the World League. And then after that, you know, I became a dad, and I had to make a decision. And my decision was, do I go to Barcelona, or do I become a dad? And you know, from my upbringing and you know, the way I was raised, you know, I made a decision to not go play football and give playing football a rest. And I wind up, my next venture was to get into coaching and raise my daughter at the time. And so I had an opportunity. Like I said, I was with the Bucs, wound up getting waived there, went back to school and graduated, got drafted in the NFL Europe, went and played for the Charlotte Barons. We wound up being a really good football team. Decided not to go play in Europe, tried to make what I thought was the best decision for me and my family at the time, and got into coaching. And since then, that's what I've been doing, coaching. And so it's been, you know, the blessing that I've received was I've really never worked anything besides football. I played, went to school for free on a scholarship, graduated from college, had an opportunity to taste what it is to be in the NFL, got drafted in the first round to the World League, and played for a semi-pro team and won a championship. And so football has really been good to me. And then from there, I got hired at Morgan State University as the defensive back coach. And from there, I just continued on, went to the University of Buffalo, Southern Utah, and on from there. And so football has really been a blessing to me and my family. My daughter went to school for free because of football. My son went to school free because of football. And so athletics has really been a blessing to my family and I.
Yeah. Now, and then you on your coaching journey. I mean, you've coached and you've coached in high school. Right now, you're the defensive coordinator at Delaware State. But what I want to ask you is, how was it when you were at the Mecca at Howard University coaching? Talk about that experience of just being on that historic campus.
That was incredible. You know, me going to University of Tennessee, which is a little different than going to an HBCU experience. You know, my first HBCU experience was in the coaching, and so my time at Howard University, had an opportunity. The head coach was my cousin Kerry Bailey. At the time, we had just won the MEAC at Delaware State and played in the playoffs and lost to Flacco. And my cousin gets the head coaching job at Howard, and he asked me to come help him build a program. The moment I stepped on the Howard University campus, I felt something different. You know, I could tell that I was there. I felt my African American history. I felt the hair on my arm stand up, all that, and just to be able to have opportunity to recruit those type of young men to go to Howard. Recruiting at Howard is an easy thing because everybody knows about Howard, whether they're in rap songs, videos, or the people that graduated from Howard. All I had to do was say I was from Howard University, especially the parents. You know, they understood what that meant. And so it made recruiting at Howard really easy. The tough part about being at Howard was finding the type of athlete that was a student athlete that could also endeavor the academic piece at Howard University. And so just being able, you know, I built so many relationships at Howard. My daughter wound up going to Howard and graduating from Howard while I was there, which was also an incredible thing. To be able to be on the same campus as my daughter and watch her go from a young lady into a woman at Howard, become a Howard woman, was a big thing for me. And that was a great experience. And so we wound up being really good on defense. The first year there, I told you about Alvin Harper, who I faced in college and went on to win a couple Super Bowls with the Cowboys, was our offensive coordinator, and I was the defensive coordinator. My first year there, I think we went like 6-5 or 7-4 and had a really good year. And then Alvin got sick, and we lost him, and then we became more of a defensive type of team, and we struggled a little bit. I think we wound up being 500 one year, and then after that, I think we were sub 500. But the experience of being able to coach there at such a prestigious institution, HBCU, it really was an exciting time in my world and in my life. And like I said, to have my daughter there going to school and to watch her become a Howard woman was an incredible feat for me.
Now, it seems like a common theme for you, man, is in terms of coaching. In terms of the HBCUs, you've been to Alabama State, Delaware State, Morgan State, Howard University, and there's a lot of attention right now on HBCUs. You see Deion Sanders is the head coach at Jackson State. And I just want to get your opinion about this. Do you think this is genuine love that, you know, that everyone is showing to HBCUs? Do you think this will continue and a lot of the top athletes will actually consider going to HBCUs, or is it just a little piss in the wind type thing?
No, I think it's been a long time coming. You know, back when I was young, and probably in the 60s, the 70s, and the early 80s, most of your top elite football players came out of HBCUs. A lot of the Hall of Famers that are there now are HBCU guys. So when I spent my time at Tennessee State, I got a chance to see the likes of Ed Too Tall Jones and those type of guys. Everywhere I went, everywhere I played, I got opportunities to meet a Hall of Famer from an HBC institution. So I think things, is cyclical. I think this is coming back around. And because of what transpired last summer and all the things with the social injustice that was going on and things that we had going on, I think it really struck a nerve with the young Black athlete. Mm-hmm. They were like, well, why should I go there when I can go here and help my people? Mm-hmm. And so do I think it? I do think it. I think it's going to stick. And I'm glad that it's here. What it'll do is it'll move HBCU and Black college football from being streamed on ESPN3 to now you see us getting on ESPN2 and ESPN. And so that's what it's going to take. But we got to put a product on the field that people want to watch, right? So we can, it is something that's new and people are excited to see it. But then we also have to put products on the field that people want to continue to see, right? And so as the athletes continue to come from all the other sports, basketball, football, baseball, and all those other sports, the young Black athlete decides to come to the HBCU because you're going to get, if I had to do it all over again, would I choose a HBCU? I would definitely be more considerate of a HBCU. You see what I'm saying? But my experience at Tennessee was good for me. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So everybody, you have to get the experience that's best for you. That was a good experience for me. It made me more well-rounded. You know what I'm saying? It gave me an opportunity to see some things that I had never seen. It exposed me to some things. But my sister went on to North Carolina A&T. Congratulations to her. She made the top 50, I guess it's 50-year team. She's a Hall of Famer at A&T in basketball. And I watched her career. And the one thing that we see is it doesn't matter what school you go to. If you're good enough, you get a chance to play at the next level. I think that was the thing with the young Black athlete is that they thought they wouldn't have an opportunity to touch the NFL because of the likes of the Tennessees and the Clemsons. But if that was the case, then everybody that plays at Clemson would be in the NFL. It don't work like that.
Right.
Mm-hmm. we got a defensive player of the year that came from South Carolina State that plays for the Colts. You got all kind of Black college athletes in the NFL, and so it doesn't matter where you come from. If you take care of your business, you'll be seen and you'll be found. So I think they're starting to see that and starting to understand that. And now what it'll do is you'll see the playing fields level out, and people will want to see, more of the HBCU. Again, it's about the product that we put on the field, right? They're good players, they're good coaches at HBCUs. We just need that opportunity to be seen, and that's what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm. I got a few more questions, man. I'm gonna let you slide out. But this
I can talk to you all day if you need me to. This for you, baby boy. For all you that don't know, I watched Miguel grow up. And he was a left-handed point guard that can run that show now. I'm trying to tell y'all. So I really enjoyed watching Miguel and his team grow. My brother-in-law, Donald Hartsfield, introduced me to Miguel. I got a chance to see Miguel grow up, and I was older than him, so he kind of was like under my wing, and I was glad I was able to be an influence in your life, man. And this is incredible that I get a chance to be on your show, so I don't take that lightly. But you wasn't a bad athlete yourself, my man.
I appreciate that, man. I really do. Going back, talking about your son, Nico, who also played at the University of Tennessee. Now, as a father, when your son follows in your footstep in terms of not only playing football, but going to your alma mater, when he told you that he was going to Tennessee to play football, what did that do to you? The one thing, I knew Nico had some special abilities, you know what I'm saying? Again, blessings flow down, and we come from a very athletic family. So,
Nico was blessed with height, so I knew, and he had some abilities, and so I told him he couldn't play football until he was 10 years old. So he had to start with something other, and it was basketball. And he wound up being a pretty good basketball player. And as he was growing up, and he grew up in North Carolina, right there from the area you're from, he was playing AAU and he was messing around with football at the same time. And so once you get ready to go into high school, you have to kind of make a decision now of what you want to do. His AAU team was playing in the Championship of America in Memphis, but his high school team was about to start football camp. And he asked me, Dad, what should I do? And I said, Nico, you have to do what you feel like you enjoy doing the most. And he wanted to be a football player. So he went to camp, wound up making the varsity team at Wake Forest Roseville, and playing wide receiver. And that first year, I think he hurt his knee, had to have surgery. He moved up to Delaware, up there with me. Got involved with a good friend of mine, is a high school head coach up here, and got a part of a program called Red Line, which was a national program. They were going around the country playing all the top teams, and Nico was starting to make a name for himself. And then he started getting offers, and he was getting offers. He had Oregon, and he had Tennessee, and he had Rutgers, and he had Maryland, and he had all these schools. But when he said, Dad, I want to go to Tennessee, yeah, a big smile came over my face. But I also knew that now it's tough to walk in other people's shoes. He would always be compared to me from that point on.
Yeah.
So a part of me wanted him to go to Tennessee, and I appreciate the fact. And he grew up a Tennessee fan because I'm a Tennessee fan. My blood is orange, and right now my skin is blue because I'm a Hornet. But you know what I'm saying? But my blood is orange.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then whatever school I coach at, that's the color of my skin.
Yeah.
My blood flows orange, right? And so he became a Tennessee fan, and when he got offered by Tennessee, that was a big thing for him. And I kind of knew that he was going to go that way. I was hoping he would try something different, but mimicking somebody is the greatest compliment you can give someone, right? So for him to want to go to Tennessee meant I did something right. He saw something that he wanted to be a part of, and he did that. And so he opened his own door. It ain't like I helped him get in there. He opened his own door. His abilities opened that door for him. His grades opened that door for him. He graduated early, got down there early, so he was there for spring. He graduated in right after Christmas, right during the Christmas break, so he was able to go to college. He started early, and from there he did his thing. And so that was a big compliment to me for him to go to Tennessee. But I was kind of torn because I did want him to walk in his own shoes as well.
Yeah, exactly. If you could go back on your football journey from high school up until now, would you change anything?
Probably one coaching move that I made. You know what I'm saying? Not that I feel bad about, but if I had to pick one thing, I stayed at Tennessee State. We have won. In my coaching career, I've had an opportunity to do some incredible things. Like, I've been 11-0 as a coach. We were the number one team, not in HBCU. This was when I was at Tennessee State, because Tennessee State plays in the OVC. They don't play in the HBCU conference, right? So the year before we went 9-2 and went to the playoffs. The next year we went 11-0 and so we won 20 straight games. And that is a major accomplishment. And to be able to say undefeated in anything is a major accomplishment. We were the number one team in the NCAA playoffs. And so, that was an incredible thing right there. But I kind of forgot, got lost in what I was talking about. So your question was about Nico, though, wasn't it?
Yeah, but you're good though, man. You're good. Everything.
Yeah, because I started thinking about my Tennessee State days being 11-0, and you can't ask for it no better than that, man. To be the number one team in the nation, and so that is one of the highlights. I don't know if that was the question. I know that's not the question you asked me, but I'm gonna answer that. That's probably one of the highlights of my coaching career, is to be a part of a team that was undefeated and the number one team in the nation. That is serious. And so, and to be at HBCU at that. So again, you're talking about HBCU'S. That team right there beat a lot of good football teams. We wound up playing Tony Romo's Eastern Illinois team. We beat them.
Wow. Mm-hmm.
So I had again, in my coaching career, I had an opportunity to go against Joe Flacco and Tony Romo. You're talking about two big time quarterbacks. Yeah, next question. I don't know where I was on that.
What's next for Coach Kramer?
What's next? I interviewed for a head coaching job when I first got to Delaware State. My mom, I was at Alabama State, and we were building a program there. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful facility there at Alabama State. And we were building us a team there. I was under Coach Ely. And my mom got sick, and we had to put her in a place where she could get better. And I came home to help my family. And there were two jobs that I was after. That was the Delaware State job and another job, where I won't talk about them right now, but I as a head coach. And I was a finalist for the job. I didn't get it, but I did. So my next thing for me in coaching is I would like to be, a head coach and somewhere near where I grew up, either in Baltimore or somewhere in Delaware. So you can kind of. So I would like to be a head coach and like to, see what I can do. I've been a part of some really, really good defenses. Now I would like to put it all together and see if I can be a part of some really, really good teams, and with me at the helm. And so that is my next venture, is to get that done. I got like I said, I have a son that is an incredible, not only an incredible football player, but he's an incredible coach. And I think to want to be able to coach with my son. I think he wants to be a coach. I think Nico wants to be a coach after he's finished playing. And to have Nico with me, as my offensive coordinator, something like that would be big time.
That'd be tough, man. That'd be tough. Hey, Andre, man, it's good to see you, man. I'm glad you took time out of your busy day to come on the show and bless me, man. This you just don't know what this does to me, man. I really appreciate it. So I definitely need you to come down to NC, man, once I get my spot open, and we're gonna do this thing live. So the people.
Well, I know one thing I know about you is if you put your mind to it, it's gonna be done. So I claim that for you, that your spot gonna be open, and I'm gonna have an opportunity to come down there and do this thing live, where I can comb my hair and not look like I'm from practice, and sit down and we can have and I would like to hit on that HBCU thing again with the black athletes, definitely. Where I can really get a little more involved in that, and really talk about being a PWI graduate and player, but had the opportunity to coach in a few HBCUs and what I would like to see, for our people. I think that would be an awesome conversation, and we can visit on that at any time. Anytime you call on me, I'm here for you, my man. I'm so proud of you. I'm proud of where you've come and what you got going on.
Appreciate it.
You keep pushing. Keep your head up, man, and stay safe out there.
Yes, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, Coach Kramer, Sports Talk with PlayerAgent3.